friends, I'm Sarah and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today we're talking all about our favorite finds this year. Some are things that we planned that really took off well, and others are complete surprises. I will be mentioning a few videos or playlists that I have made on my channel throughout this video, and you can find those linked in the iCards above and in the description box below. I am going to go pretty quickly through this list because, as you can see from this pile, we have a lot of things here. So you might want to get your pen out and paper if you want to take notes. I know that I like to get ideas from other people's book lists, and so today is going to be one of those idea-full videos. One of the first things that I want to share today is our consistent workbook that we have been using. This is the Scholastic Pre-K, Get Ready for Pre-K Jumbo Workbook, and this actually has stickers in it. My son loves doing the stickers. It has been great for developing his pincer grasp and his hand-eye coordination. So before he can even write letters, he needs to learn how to control his pencil. So he has done a lot of great work on this. You can see there are still some blank pages, but we've done a lot of the shapes in this book and some colors and just some tracing of lines to develop a lot of skills that he needs for preschool. We're going to continue using this throughout the school year. As I've mentioned on my channel, I have an exciting year-long series coming out, and this is going to feature big in that series. If you haven't yet checked out the video, check it out in the description box below. The next thing that we found, because we don't really have social studies in preschool, but we wanted to include it because our family is so international, has been the Ready to Read Around the World collection. There are many books in this series, but we have multiple countries, including 2 that are really important to our family, and it has really helped us with transition to another country because our family just moved, but also just about learning about my son's one of his countries to which he has dual citizenship, Brazil. So we have revisited this series quite a bit. Shine a Light books. These are great for little kids who love flashlights already, but also just love to discover hidden objects. So we shine a light behind the page and it shows an object that is hidden in the picture. We have really enjoyed these for learning about the human body and oceans, just animals in general. I hope you can pick up a few more because I think these would be great science books. They don't have a ton of information, but it can lead to great conversations. And at their level, my preschool boys have enough information in these books to be very useful for them. But speaking of science, another Usborne book series that we have come to love is the Lift the Flap Very First Questions and Answers. These are very interactive with Lift the Flaps, and they're also subjects and topics that my sons really gravitate toward. We have a book about germs, we have a book about poop, we have a book about the clouds, the sky, sun, stars. All of these things are covered within their books, and my son still references the germs book when we wash our hands, so it has been really helpful teaching him to wash his hands. Another science find is the Berenstain Bears Big Book of Science and Nature. This is actually included in Sunlight Curriculum's preschool core, pre-K core, but we started reading it now, even though my sons aren't officially the age of 4 or 5 that the curriculum is geared toward. We have really enjoyed this because it's the Berenstain Bears and it's rhyming, and they do a fantastic job with their rhymes. I was really impressed. Math, our favorite so far has been Nibbles' Numbers. We have read this countless times. You can see a little bit of wear on our cover because Nibbles is just fascinating. He eats through the pages and we love to try to catch him. My son has actually learned to identify the numbers in one of their written forms in this book, and as we're going through the book, he can say the numbers back to me, so it has been a lot easier than just rote memorization for teaching numbers. And speaking of math, I cannot sing the praises of Preschool Math at Home enough. This is a fantastic resource for teaching math to little kids in ways that are play-based and just very natural. The lessons are very short, they're simple, using everyday objects. We have really enjoyed this and will continue to use it. Another math find is the Usborne Big Book of Things to Spot. My boys love going through this and finding the animals because they're into animals. And counting them. So we try to identify the numbers at the bottom of the page or on the sides of how many of each animal there are and count them throughout the picture. It has been great practice, and we actually did this with their uncles who have Down syndrome. We all took turns, and it was such a fun bonding time together. If you have watched other videos on my channel, you might know that Bible was a pretty challenging subject for us at the beginning of the year. My son just wasn't really into the book that we were using, and so I decided this is such an important subject to me. I really want my boys to interact with it, to understand, to hold their attention, and to give activity. So we found 2 resources that have really helped with that. I cover those in my video all about our favorite Bible resources for preschool, and you can watch that video for more resources, but the main things that we have really loved are the Rhyme Bible Storybook. This is a lyrical way to go through the Bible. Some of the stories in many children's Bibles are missing from this one. They do have the main ones, and they're written in such a way that they rhyme, they're engaging. My son has really enjoyed the switch to that Bible. We also have loved Play Through the Bible, which is a blog series now become a book that you can order on Amazon or a PDF copy on the author's website. I will link all of these resources in the description box below so you can easily find them. But you can access that series free on the author's website, and it gives activities that are very interactive so that young children can experience the Bible, and you can have more talking time and discussion time than just the children's suspension. Then just the children's attention spans might naturally grant if you were sitting still. Also in Bible, I have a few other resources. Tales That Tell the Truth. This was a surprise series that I discovered just a little while ago, and we love the theological truth, the doctrine that's taught in these books, and the way that it explains really complicated topics like prayer and the new heavens, new earth, death and resurrection, the atonement. But they take really complicated topics and just make them understandable and enjoyable for younger kids. This one is Goodbye to Goodbyes, and it talks about how our death is actually not the end because Jesus' death. He rose again, and through him we will be resurrected. It's an excellent series. I highly recommend it. I also found this very recently. This has quickly become one of my boys' favorite books. This is Jesus Saves by Sarah Reju, or I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce her name, but it's the gospel for toddlers. It is written in such a way that my boys repeat it to me, actually. Throughout the day, they will talk about it. My son identifies the parts of the story. He will sometimes go up to the bookshelf and grab this himself and ask me to read it. So I think it's very clear, and it also is very engaging. I have a video all about church history and teaching that to preschoolers or young children. This has been our favorite from that video, and I think probably because my son's name is Stephen and Stephen is included in this series, but also just because Voice of the Martyrs does a great job of taking church history and making it into these books. So we have Stephen, Valentine, Paul, Thomas, Patrick, and Nicholas included in this series. I hope they come out with more, but this is the Courageous series from the Voice of the Martyrs. It includes 6 books throughout church history, especially early church history. And we have just really enjoyed reading, especially the book about Stephen, because my son's name is Stephen and he has to read it repeatedly. But I'm really excited about how well they have done this series and how they also bring in some modern day experiences. So my family is bilingual. We speak Portuguese and English, and we're doing homeschool in both languages. One book that brings both of these languages together and also is available in many other languages is The Fabulous Lost and Found. This book has been especially my oldest son's favorite, and it includes words in the target language inside of the story, but it is written mostly in English. So if you are teaching a language to your child as a second language or third language or whatever language it is for them, introducing that language to them, this would be a great way to do that with a few vocabulary words and sentences. My son already understands all the sentences that are included, but we have picked up a few vocabulary words from it, and and it's just a really enjoyable book. This isn't technically a find, but it is something that I did this school year and felt really accomplished in getting done, and was something that our family has really enjoyed. This is a treasury of classic Brazilian nursery rhymes and songs in the original Portuguese with English translations by yours truly. So I actually put this together for my family because we needed something similar to our English nursery rhymes that we could hold in our laps. We have access to nursery rhymes online through YouTube, but we needed something like this that was just, we could sing together, we could see pictures of, we could revisit, my boys could look at themselves and try to sing the songs for. And so this is what I created, and I feel really accomplished with it. So I thought, why not include it in this list? If you have created resources for your homeschool, for your family, I would love to check them out and celebrate with you in your accomplishment. You can leave those in the comments below, and we can all just celebrate together. The HarperCollins Treasury of Picture Book Classics. This book is extremely heavy, but my oldest son would not probably want to travel without this book. It is amazing. It has a lot of the classic children's stories like Goodnight Moon, Caps for Sale, Harold and the Purple Crayon, and two of my son's new book favorites that I had actually never read before are in this book, Baby Says and Pete's a Pizza. We have read this book I don't know how many times. It has been well worth the purchase for us. Another unexpected find is George and Martha. If I had seen this on a library shelf, I probably would not have picked it up, but it was part of our Sunlight curriculum program, and this is another book that my son asks for almost daily. He talks very often about George and Martha, and he'll even refer back to the stories when something happens in our lives that mimics theirs. It is a great series, a funny series, and this book includes, I think, all of their books in one volume. Other favorites from Sunlight, these are just classic books for this age group, Go Dog Go and Green Eggs and Ham. Now, I'm not sure which of these exactly was included in Sunlight because we just have both of these books, but Richard Scarry has become one of my son's favorite authors, and we have Cars and Trucks and Things That Go, and we also have What Do People Do All Day, and I know this one is included in Sunlight, but these are books that we have read many, many times also, and they're just quality books for learning about different vehicles, about traffic, about people's jobs, and why we work, what money means, and how people are paid for doing their job. So a great introduction just to society for little kids. And now some really, really unexpected finds. I had heard of Elephant and Piggy a few times before, but had never really read their books before this year. We bought their volumes, 5 books in each treasury, and we love these. We have 4 of them. Elephant and Piggy, Biggie 1, 2, 3, and 4. And my son, for a while, would not go to sleep without reading probably several entire treasuries of these. So these are favorites that we have, and they also include some great social skills in their stories, as well as some emotional regulation skills. I have a video all about Mother Goose treasuries, and I started that video because the book that we had was just not cutting it. I didn't enjoy it, my sons didn't really enjoy it, and I know some people enjoy it, but we just went on a hunt for a great Mother Goose treasury. We found 3, 4 that we really, really love, but overall the one we have read the most, so our family's favorite, has been this one, the Paragon Mother Goose Treasury. This is published by Paragon, and it has a lot of more modern Mother Goose rhymes, things like Miss Mary Mac and Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, things like that aren't exactly traditional Mother Goose rhymes, but they're things that we say really often, and my son loves this book. Both of my sons love this book. The arts are something that we got mostly from the Gentle and Classical this year, but I found our own resources that I really enjoy, and my boys really enjoy as well, and these are kind of independent finds. We found this book, Allegro, after I made my video all about preschool music education, and I wish I would have included this in the video because this is one resource I thought just go get this if you have a preschooler, and you basically have everything. It talks about composers inside. It has a storyline. It has different songs that are very famous, and it teaches emotions and how music expresses emotion. It has kind of increased in price over the last few months since we bought it on Amazon, so it's a little pricey right now. But I think that this is a great music education tool. Another thing that we just recently found within the last week actually is the Story Orchestra. So if you have watched my video about music education for preschoolers at home, then you know I've recommended in there or said that we have enjoyed the Usborne musical sound books. I enjoyed this much more. The Story Orchestra has a storyline to it. It actually has bits of many songs from the orchestral piece, the symphony, and so it actually has a lot more meat to it. The Usborne ones just have buttons with songs. They're easy to press. We do enjoy them. This one is a little bit harder to press, but I think that the storyline, once the batteries have died, once maybe the music box doesn't work anymore, the book will still hold its own because it has a storyline in here and it has great illustrations. I wish I could go back now and just edit my music education video and include these books, or actually scratch off some others and put these down as favorites. Take this as me editing that video. Maybe in the future I will redo that completely. I just don't want to right now. If you think that would be helpful, just let me know in the comments below. For art, I decided to check out this series by James Mayhew. James Mayhew created a series about a little girl named Katie, and she goes to the museum. The storyline is kind of similar in each book in that they go to the museum. She goes to the museum with her grandmother, and her grandmother falls asleep, and then Katie has adventures in the paintings. But the adventures are different in each story. So my son loves these books. I do as well, and it has taught a lot of familiarity with different pieces of art, famous pieces of art. Usually there is a theme of the types of artists and artwork that are included in this story, but we have two that kind of feature Van Gogh's works, of course, so famous, and also one about Mona Lisa and one about the Impressionists. And so they cover great classical art that I think my sons should become familiar with, and we will keep reading these and using these throughout the future years of schooling. So this has been one of my favorite finds actually, because I know my weakness. I love art. I do enjoy making art as well, creating art, but I don't have a great ability to teach art appreciation. So this is a great find this year. So those are some of our favorite finds, some surprises, like I said, some that we pretty much expected and knew would be favorites. I mean, who doesn't like Richard Scarry? Hopefully you do. But what are your favorite finds, or what do you think from this list that your family would enjoy? Leave a comment below and let me know. If you would like videos covering any type of these books in more detail, just let me know. And don't stop here with this video. Check out a video of our Homeschool Preschool this year where we cover a lot of great books in 1 year of preschool. You can check that out right here. See you guys next time.